Y'all, there are a bunch of leaks coming out of the Pentagon right now. Somebody in there wants the American people to know what's going on. I would say because this is insanity, but everything with this regime is insanity. As you've probably noticed, General Kane despises Trump and Hegseth, but he wouldn't be the leaker. Let's just leave it there. Now, what are these leaks about? Y'all. Anyway, there's apparently a revolt going on inside the Pentagon right now. One of them is about the Trump-class battleship, and the second one is about strategic mistakes in Trump's infinite incompetence. Y'all got to hear this. This is from the West Point history professor on Substack. His name is Terrence Goggin, and he has researched these leaks right off the bat. I haven't seen anything like it. The Pentagon is in full revolt over the Iranian war, a war verging on defeat. It is depleting our military stockpiles of critical weapons, undermining decades of diplomacy, and unacceptable to the military who are asked to go in harm's way for no achievable purpose. And there are plenty of other options to deal with Iran's nuclear weapons capability, such as no-go areas surrounding uranium stockpiles. Makes sense, right? They have drawn a hard line in the sand. But wait, there's more. He says, but first I want to discuss a deeper long-term issue. Will the military allow the Trump administration to plan its future weapon structure and capabilities based on President Trump's whims? The answer is a resounding no. The no is in capital letters. And he said there is no better example than the Trump-class battleship. Y'all, do y'all remember last term when Trump was obsessed with the USS Gerald Ford? He wanted the command center to be moved to the center of the ship, and it had to be explained to him that if they moved that command center to the center of a ship, planes couldn't land and take off. And if you haven't heard of it, no, I'm not kidding. Let me tell you about this Trump-class battleship right quick. I know that most of you don't know much about what the Navy calls surface combatants, battleships, cruisers, destroyers, frigates, and of course LCSs, the littoral combat ships, known to their crews as crappy little ships. You can tell that I was not in the Navy. The very next line is normally that oversight in your education wouldn't matter much. Good, but it carries an important message to the American people. Get ready. The president is a bit off his game, but don't worry, we are keeping him happy with paintings, y'all, of his beautiful ships that look great. The vision won't cost much, merely the price of fancy illustrations. And I'm about to show you one of those illustrations. See that right there? Trump fist pumping. The ship is designed for a certain look that appeals to Trump's nostalgia for the past, and its silhouette mimics a 1940s Iowa class battleship. I had to look that up. Like I said, I'm not Navy. So this is the silhouette of it. This is called the USS Defiant. Remember that we are struggling to pay for fuel, that we're struggling to survive, right? But let me tell you about it. The Pentagon's projected cost for this new giant, named the USS Defiant, is $17 billion per ship, which is 40% higher than a modern Ford-class aircraft carrier, which costs $12 billion and carries an air wing of 80 aircraft. The USS Defiant would hold 2 helicopters. I wish I was joking. The USS Defiant is designed to enrapture Trump, but fail congressional scrutiny, and that is not accidental. So what is Trump's inspiration for this dumb idea? This is the USS Iowa. Here's another one. It's the HMS Dreadnought. It's like a 6-year-old when they get, they're playing soldiers and they get a new army tank. It gets worse, but y'all can speed me up by just pressing somewhere around the profile picture over here. These battleships became obsolete 100 years ago. This happened when, in 1921, A squadron of rickety biplane bombers dove on a heavily armored German dreadnought battleship and sank it. There was an Army Air Corps general named Billy Mitchell that tried to prove that the age of battleships was over and the era of naval air power had begun. He was court-martialed for that, under disobeying the rules of the demonstration. General Mitchell was proved correct 20 years later because the Japanese had sunk all of our battleships at Pearl Harbor. So we had nothing left but 3 aircraft carriers, which defeated the Japanese combat fleet. In other words, the battleships were all but useless. Aircraft carriers, that's where it was at. This is from the article, Battleships are museum pieces attracting thousands of tourists. Wow, okay. The last ship that was close to a traditional battleship was Russia's Moskva, sunk by a Ukrainian speedboat drone in the opening months of the Ukraine-Russo war. And basically the article is saying that we need more of these stealth destroyers of the Zumwalt class. They're armed with short-range anti-ship missiles and long-range hypersonic missiles. 3 have already been built. In this case, the USS Zumwalt, a service combatant, has a radar image so small it appears to be a small fishing boat. The Pentagon program to produce just 3 of these ships cost $24 billion, or $8 billion each, in the early 21st century. As far as building Trump's vision for a beautiful ship, beautiful useless ship, the author says here, it is profoundly ignorant and a stupid idea, but to refuse flat out is unwise. Play along. I think we've played along long enough. Provide enough resources to draft preliminary plans, present it to Congress, and let nature take its course. The Armed Services Committee in both houses of Congress will delay, debate, and wait Trump out. I'm going to put the second link in another video. Ran out of time. Anyway, let me know what you think in the comments. See you next video.